He clearly awakened an academic genius system. Yet somehow, the system wanted him to win over the genius school beauty. And the worst part was, he could not refuse, because the study-focused trait reward he needed most just happened to be tied to that genius school beauty. So no matter how ridiculous the system's mission was, nothing could stop him from getting a reward related to studying. His name was Chu Shun, a top student who received love letters almost every single day. Sure enough, he received another pink envelope today, and his childhood friend Feng Yuan happened to see it. Feng Yuan asked curiously, "That pink envelope, don't tell me it's another love letter." Chu Xin nodded calmly. "That's right. And it's from Zhang Xuan in the class next door, the girl you have a crush on." Feng Yuan panicked on the spot. "Chu Shen, you didn't accept it, did you?" Chu Sun shoved him away without hesitation. "What are you thinking? I already handed it to the teacher." To Chu Shun, romance was never even worth considering. Studying was the only real path upward. If a high school student spent 2 hours dating every day, that would be 120 minutes a day, 43,800 minutes a year, and 131,400 minutes over 3 years. But if all that time went into studying, maybe he could understand one more problem, score one more point on the college entrance exam, and have a better chance of getting into his dream university. So in Chu Shun's eyes, romance would only drag down his studies. After hearing that steel-straight speech, even Feng Yuan could not take it anymore. "You're seriously hopeless. With conditions like yours, you still refuse to date?" Just then, a water bottle beside them was accidentally knocked over. Chu Shun was about to reach down and pick it up, but the bottle suddenly burst with rainbow-colored light. The glow instantly wrapped around his entire body. Then, a mysterious voice rang out in his mind. "System startup complete. Host successfully bound. Welcome to the Perfect Life System. This system is dedicated to helping the host achieve a perfect life." Immediately after that, 2 panels appeared before Chu Shun. The system prompted that only when someone within 1 kilometer of the host had an affection level of 60 or above toward him could he draw a basic trait reward. After completing that person's exclusive mission, he could also draw a new trait or upgrade an existing one. Traits were ranked from low to high, as white, blue, purple, gold, red, and rainbow. Chu Shun was stunned for a moment. He looked at the classmates around him, then at Feng Yuan, only to find that none of them reacted at all. It seemed like he was the only one who could see the panel. So, Chu Shin began studying the system and casually opened the affection list. The system showed that nearby people with affection levels above 60 included only Su Muqing, Feng Yuan, and Wan Weihang. Chu Shin could not help sighing. "Geniuses really are lonely. There are only a few people around who like me that much." He first selected his best friend, Feng Yuan, as the draw target. The next second, he drew a white trait, Little Skirt Lover. After equipping it, the user would become completely unable to resist pretty skirts, even feel the urge to wear them, and gain an unusually deep understanding of all kinds of skirt styles. The system even thoughtfully added that wearing this trait long-term could unlock an upgraded blue trait, Cross-Dressing King. And Feng Yuan's exclusive mission was somehow fencing practice. After reading it, Chu Shin nearly coughed blood on the spot. What kind of cursed trait is this? He immediately rejected the mission. Then Chu Shin looked at the second target, Wang Mihang. She was his homeroom teacher. Chu Shin was not surprised by her affection level at all. After all, his grades were one of the key reasons she could keep her title as the strongest homeroom teacher in their grade. As a teacher, she had to have some kind of study-related trait, but the trait he drew was actually a white trait, Love Brain. Chu Shin was speechless all over again. That meant only Su Muqing was left. Right then, Wan Lihong began announcing the first place result of the mock exam. As expected, it was Su Muqing again. First in class, first in the entire grade, with a total score of 708. Second place was Chu Sun, the eternal runner-up. Every single time, he lost to her by just a few points. The name Su Muqing had practically become Chu Shin's personal nightmare. Ever since the entrance exam, she had been one step ahead of him. She had made his supposedly perfect life taste defeat for the very first time. There were even nights when Chu Shin would wake up from a dream because of that name. In other words, Su Muqing was the rival he wanted to defeat and surpass more than anyone else. But what Chu Shin could not understand was this. They had been in school together for a year and a half, yet they had spoken fewer than 5 times. So how could Su Muqing's affection level toward him be above 60? Whatever, draw the trait first. To his surprise, Chu Shin actually drew an upgradable white trait from her. Absolute Focus. When equipped, the user's mind becomes clear, allowing full concentration on studying. Study efficiency increases by 10%, and problem-solving speed increases by 5%. However, please do not equip it while crossing the street. Chu Shin's eyes instantly lit up. So this system was not completely useless after all. This was exactly the study-related trait he needed most. Now he had finally found a way to defeat Sumu King. Chu Shun made up his mind on the spot. System, I choose Sumu Ching. To upgrade the trait he drew from Sumu Ching, he was willing to complete any exclusive mission. Chu Shun looked at Sumu King with his eyes shining, but at that very moment, Sumu Ching's face had already turned bright red, because what no one knew was that she actually had the ability to read minds. And when Chu Shin's inner thoughts reached her ears, they sounded like this. For Sumu Ching, I'm willing to do anything. Because Sumu Ching had possessed this hidden mind-reading abilities since childhood, she knew most of the secrets in their class. For example, whenever Feng wanted badly on an exam, he would start thinking about using a cold as an excuse to fool his parents. Sumu Ching always sneered at that. This fat guy used the same trick every single time. Another example was Lin Lin and Zhang Yue, who seemed extremely close on the surface. In reality, their friendship was already on the verge of falling apart, and both of them secretly looked down on each other. As for the two students in front of her, they were secretly crushing on each other, but neither one had any intention of confessing. There were plenty of things like that. To Sumu Ching, even though she knew all these secrets, she would never be the annoying type who spread them around. She only wanted to live her own life, even if that meant having no friends. But there was always an exception. In their class, there was one boy Sumu Ching never found annoying, and that was Chu Shun. The top student ranked right behind her. Even though Chu Shun always treated her like his imaginary rival, Sumu Ching did not mind, because to her, that was already the cleanest and most determined inner voice she had ever heard. But what she never expected was that today, Chu Shun was completely different from usual. She actually heard him thinking, for Sumu Ching, I'm willing to do anything. Wasn't that basically a confession line? Because of that one thought, Sumu Ching's face instantly turned red. Meanwhile, Chu Shun was still staring straight at her. Seeing this, Fang Yuan patted his shoulder. Dude, what are you doing? You keep staring at student Su like that, and the love in your eyes is about to spill out. Just then, the teacher called Sumu Ching up to the podium. She was in charge of collecting and safekeeping the test papers for the students who had asked for leave. As for Chu Shun, he was still thinking about how he could hold Sumu Ching's hand. That was right. Exclusive Mission 1 was to hold her hand. The reward was 100 experience points and 3,000 yuan, and experience points could be used to upgrade traits. But if Chu Shun failed to complete the mission within 36 hours, he would suffer the failure penalty. Aphasia. Was he supposed to explain to her that holding hands was merely contact between the outer layers of skin? Sumu Ching, who had just received the test papers, heard Chu Shun's thoughts again, and almost lost her balance from sheer shock. What was wrong with this guy today? Why had his thoughts changed so much all of a sudden? Chu Shun had no idea what was happening to her, and was still trying to figure out how to successfully hold her hand. If he got down on his knees and begged her to hold hands with him, would she agree? When Sumu Ching heard that, she immediately panicked. One careless step later, she fell flat on her back. Her whole face was burning red, and she even started bleeding from the nose. Chu Shun was startled by her condition and was just about to ask politely if she was okay. But in the next second, a brilliant idea suddenly popped into his head. If things went on like this, wouldn't she have to go to the infirmary? And if he was the one who took her there, wouldn't that be a perfect chance to hold her hand? Sure enough, Wan Li Hong immediately called out, "Someone help her to the infirmary." Chu Shun answered without hesitation, "Teacher, I'll do it." Then he marched toward Sumu Ching with full momentum. "Student Su, I'm coming." But Sumu Ching knew Chu Shun's real goal was holding hands. And with her face bright red, she did not dare let him help. She rejected him on the spot and ran to the infirmary by herself. "Student Chu Shun, that kind of thing is not allowed." Sumu King simply could not understand why his thoughts had changed so drastically today. After being rejected, Chu Shun was beyond embarrassed. What was going on with Sumu King? Why did it feel like she was deliberately avoiding him? He checked the mission timer. There were still 35 hours left. Fine, there was still time. To complete the mission of holding hands with the school beauty, Chu Shen began acting like a KGB agent, ready to make his move at any moment. He even started searching online for every possible clue. For example, he asked, "How do you hold hands with a girl you have barely spoken to?" Unfortunately, his post was soon deleted by the moderator for being a virgin boy's fantasy. But Chu Shen did not give up. He came up with a whole alien-related excuse and kept asking for advice. After making every preparation, Chu Shun looked at Sumu Ching sitting beside him. As for why the large bus stop only had the two of them there, it was because the school still had evening self-study. And since Chu Xun and Su Muqing were ranked first and second in the entire school, they shared the privilege of top honor students and did not have to attend. But to Chu Xun, that privilege felt more like a curse. Still, it did not matter. Things were different now. Once he used the system to surpass Su Muqing's grades, this privilege would belong to him alone. For the sake of the mission, she should just stay right here and accept his hand-holding plan. Su Muqing looked calm on the outside, but inside, she was already panicking. Was student Chu Xun going to confess to her right here? What was she supposed to do? Just then, Chu Xun's shoelace suddenly came loose. He was about to crouch down and tie it. But in Su Muqing's eyes, that posture looked way too much like he was about to confess. Her face instantly turned red, and she blurted out in a panic, "You can't confess here." But before she could finish, she saw that Chu Xun was only tying his shoelace. The entire scene became painfully awkward. Chu Xun, however, had no idea what Su Muqing was thinking. To him, it looked like she was provoking him. What was this? The moment he showed the slightest sign of kneeling, she was ready to help him up? Wasn't that basically the arrogant posture of an empress saying, "Rise, my loyal subject"? Woman, I accept this challenge. So, Chu Xun adjusted his glasses and said seriously, "Student Su, when it comes to simply tying my shoelaces, I still know how to do that. I don't need your help." Faced with this awkward situation, Su Muqing had no idea how to explain herself. After all, she could not exactly say she had the ability to read minds. Thankfully, the bus arrived right then, finally saving them from the awkward silence. Su Muqing rushed onto the bus with her face still burning red. Chu Xun followed right behind her, staring at her with shining eyes as he prepared to officially launch his hand-holding plan. He walked up to Su Muqing. Then he asked her directly, "Student Su, what's your hip measurement?" Su Muqing was so speechless, she nearly coughed blood. Chu Xun pointed at the bus seat and began his explanation. "Look, this seat is roughly a square seat, about 50 centimeters by 50 centimeters. For comfort, the length is increased by around 10 centimeters. And my hip measurement is 95 centimeters. A normal person's backside can be treated as an ellipse. According to the formula for the area of an ellipse, after 2.5 minutes of professional calculations, the final area came out to roughly 706.5 square centimeters. Now, considering that the contact area between a person and a seat is not just the backside, but also includes the space occupied by the thighs, theoretically, as long as you scoot inward a little, the two of us can share one seat. That way, as long as two people squeezed into the same seat, any little movement from the bus would give Chu Xun a perfect reason to grab student Su's hand and complete the system mission." Su Muqing was completely stunned by his logic. "But student Chu Xun, aren't all the seats around us empty? Why do you have to squeeze in with me?" Chu Xun was instantly left speechless. He had been careless. His argument seemed flawless, yet he had somehow forgotten to observe the surrounding environment. As expected of student Su, he would have to make a new plan. So, Chu Xun sat down beside Su Muqing and began thinking about what to do next. Just then, the bus was about to enter a turn. Chu Xun knew he had to seize this opportunity. He turned to Su Muqing. "Student Su, do you feel it? At this very moment, we are experiencing rotation in a non-inertial frame of reference. In plain language, the bus is about to turn." What followed was another long explanation about the conservation of angular momentum. In plain language, they needed to be careful not to get thrown sideways. So, student Su, let us tightly hold each other's hands to reduce the system's moment of inertia and stabilize our rotational posture. Unfortunately, Su Muqing was the #1 student in the entire school, the one who had always stayed ahead of Chu Xun. When it came to this kind of topic, how could she possibly lose? She immediately fired back with a whole barrage of professional knowledge. In plain language, it meant, "Don't touch me." So for safety's sake, we should maintain individual stability. After saying that, Su Muqing blushed and quietly moved a little farther away from Chu Xun. Chu Xun still refused to give up and continued challenging her to an academic battle, but every single time, Su Muqing countered him perfectly. By the time she arrived at her stop, Chu Xun still had not found a chance to hold her hand. After adjusting his mindset, Chu Xun called out to Su Muqing. But in Su Muqing's eyes, this became the prelude to another confession. Sure enough, what had to come was finally here. Speaking of which, Su Muqing also found it strange. The thoughts she heard from Chu Xun today sounded as if they were being interfered with by something, and all she received were bizarre fragments. For example, back on the bus, she heard Chu Xun thinking, "Right here, except my beep beep sounds, this overflowing hand-holding. And then, there was something like, if we squeeze together, there'll be a reason to complete the con something. No matter how she listened to it, it sounded exactly like confession talk. But at that moment, Sumu Ching had no romantic thoughts at all. So when faced with what she thought was Chushin's incoming confession, she bowed awkwardly and rejected him, handing him the classic friendzone card. I'm sorry, I'm not thinking about that right now. But Chushin only told her seriously, next time, for sure. Next time, I'll surpass you. And just like that, Sumu Ching was left standing there, completely stunned. Wasn't he supposed to confess? What a strange idiot. When Chushin returned home for dinner, he immediately noticed that something was off with his parents' expressions. First, his mother, Li Shufen, ran a private cake studio and had recently been trying to figure out short-form videos. Her trait was, social skills are business opportunities. His father, Old Chu, was a vocal music teacher who is now semi-retired. His trait was perfect pitch, but it only worked on senior citizen sing-along songs. Normally, his parents loved chatting non-stop about neighborhood gossip during meals. But today, both of them were strangely silent. Had they found out he only ranked second on the exam? But after thinking about it, that did not seem right. The only person who truly cared about his grades was Chushin himself. After all, ever since high school started, he had always ranked second, and his parents would only say, second place is still amazing. So Chushin guessed that they must be hiding something from him. Sure enough, his dad spoke first. Hey Shun, before we talk about this, we need to apologize to you. However, Chushin had already more or less guessed what they wanted to say, so he answered directly, you don't need to apologize to me. His dad smiled with relief. Hey Shun, you've grown up. But in the very next second, Chushin dropped a bomb. So when did my mom get pregnant with the second child? Just like that, the tea his dad had just taken into his mouth sprayed right back out in shock. What the hell? So the reason the atmosphere felt wrong today was not because of a second child, but because they suspected Chushin of dating? The moment Chushin heard that, he felt deeply insulted. Comrade Old Chu, Ms. Li Shufen, please watch your wording. This is slander against me. His mom immediately tossed his notebook onto the table. If you say it's slander, then what does it mean that this notebook is filled with Sumu Ching's name? But that was from the midterm exam half a month ago. Chushin had scored 145 in math, while Sumu Ching got a perfect score. Because of that 5-point gap, she had once again pushed him down to second place. That night, he kept regretting it, recalculated the problem he lost points on over and over, and in frustration, filled the paper with Sumu Ching's name. Who would have thought his parents would mistake that for puppy love? Chushin stopped explaining and ran straight back to his room. I will not make any further statements until my lawyer arrives. In truth, Old Chu and Li Shufen did not actually think dating was a bad thing. On the contrary, they felt their son loved studying too much. He had even started teaching himself college-level material. If this kept going, he would become a full-on bookworm. If he could meet more friends or even try dating someone, they would honestly think that was a good thing. At this point, Li Shufen brought up Sumu Ching again. She had seen that girl at the last parent-teacher meeting, and she had to admit the child was truly beautiful. Her grades were excellent too, and apparently, she ranked first every single time. When Old Chu heard the words, first every single time, he suddenly understood why his son cared so much about that girl. Inside his room, Chushin was in a terrible mood. He could not believe he had lost to Sumu Ching again on this exam. Every time he thought about his score, Chushin felt like a man hopelessly dense in his own revenge, and Sumu Ching was his King Fu Chai of Wu. The Chushin of the past had been a defeated man beneath Sumu Ching's skirt, but one day, he would wash away this humiliation. Since that was the case, it looked like it was time to activate his cheat. Come on, let me see what you can really do. System, equip the absolute focus trait for me. As the trait activated, Chushin's study efficiency and problem-solving speed both increased. In that moment, he felt an unprecedented sense of calm. His mind became cool and clear. Every worry and stray thought disappeared, leaving only the purest form of studying. If his problem-solving speed increased by 5%, then in a 120-minute math exam, that meant he would gain a full 6 extra minutes. And this was only a white trait. If he upgraded it all the way to rainbow, what kind of effect would it have? Chushin was already getting excited. He almost wished he could wake up the next morning and see Sumu Ching immediately. Student Su, just wait for me. Meanwhile, Sumu Ching had just been about to take a shower when she suddenly sneezed for no reason. For some reason, she felt a chill slowly creeping up her back. The next day, Chushin arrived near the school looking completely drained. Last night, to test the power of the absolute focus trait, he had equipped it and studied like a man possessed the entire night. but his body clearly could not handle that kind of a deuce. Just then, he glanced to the side and spotted a familiar figure. Su Muqing was hugging a tree in a strange position, while a little girl behind her was trying to push her upward. Any normal person would assume she was helping the child retrieve a balloon stuck in the tree. Sure enough, Su Muqing was just about to ask Chushin for help, but in Chushin's bookworm eyes, the scene instantly became something else. Student Su, did you try to rob a little girl of her balloon, get caught, and then panic climb into a tree? Chushin turned to the little girl. Kid, do you need me to call the police for you? Su Muqing heard that and nearly lost her soul. She quickly explained, that's not what happened, Student Chu. I was trying to help this little girl get her balloon back. But for someone like me who can't climb trees at all, it's honestly way too difficult. After hearing Su Muqing's explanation, Chushun finally understood. So that's what happened. Chushun looked up at the balloon stuck in the tree. So all I have to do is get it down, but I haven't unlocked the tree climbing skill either. Hearing this, Su Muqing thought they might as well give up. Since neither of them knew how to climb trees, getting hurt over this would not be worth it. But Chushun suddenly took the chance to suggest, let's have a competition. Since neither of us can climb trees, let's see who can come up with a way to get the balloon down first. Su Muqing immediately started overthinking. Was this guy going to make some weird request if he won? She had not forgotten the thoughts she heard from him yesterday. If it really was an unreasonable request, then Su Muqing's affection toward him would definitely drop. So she cautiously asked, what happens to the loser? Chushun adjusted his glasses. If you lose, you lose. What else would happen? Su Muqing froze for a moment. Was it really that simple? So she started listening to Chushun's thoughts. On the outside, he looked completely indifferent, but deep down, he was thinking that as a man, he could not just ignore a crying little girl. In that instant, Su Muqing's affection for Chushun shot up by a huge amount. This guy really was all bark and a soft heart. He clearly wanted to help, but he could not bring himself to admit it. Chushun had no idea Su Muqing could listen to his thoughts. He was already seriously thinking about how to get the balloon down. Retrieving something from a tree with bare hands had been a classic problem troubling humanity for thousands of years. But things were different now. Standing on the shoulders of the giant known as physics, Chushun only needed a running start and the perfect takeoff point. According to the parabolic equation, he had to make the highest point of the parabola cover the target point, make sure his center of gravity reached enough height at the peak, and then combine that with the principles of leverage and moment of inertia. In plain English, he was going to hit it with his backpack. With that, a little balloon would be easy to handle. Chushun's plan was solid, and the execution went smoothly too. The only thing he had not expected was for his own backpack to malfunction and get caught on a branch as well. Seeing Chushun fall from the tree, Su Muqing hurried over, trying to catch him. With a thud, she actually managed to catch him. The only problem was that their position looked a little too intimate. For a moment, both of their faces turned red. Once, they came back to their senses. They shyly turned their heads away at the same time. But after only a brief moment, Chushun threw that awkwardly romantic scene to the back of his mind and started thinking about why he had failed just now. So he turned his gaze towards Su Muqing's backpack and decided to try another method. Su Muqing panicked immediately. Chotomate, that's my backpack. But Chushun clearly was not listening anymore. All he wanted now was success. His second method was to use a pitching motion to knock the balloon down. As a result, in the very next second, Su Muqing's backpack was also thrown into the tree. The atmosphere instantly turned awkward. After a moment of silence, Su Muqing said, Student Chushun, it looks like both of our backpacks are stuck up there. Chushun nodded. Yes, the light reflecting off the backpacks has already been captured by my retinas. Seeing this, the little girl cried even louder. After who knew how long, they finally had to rely on a sporty student to help retrieve the balloon and both backpacks. Chushun was left standing there with a deeply depressed look on his face. On the way to school, Chushun said awkwardly, let's call this one a draw. Su Muqing nodded along. Yes, sure. But then Su Muqing added, still, Student Chushun, there's one thing you need to understand. On exam papers, you can ignore air resistance, but in real life, you obviously can't. Also, the motion decomposition problems in physics are mostly based on ideal models, but the backpack in your hand is an irregular cuboid with shoulder straps, so once you throw it, the result will naturally be different. And besides, no one can perfectly control their muscle strength. The force of the throw will always have some deviation. Chushun froze after hearing that. Was she giving me a way to save face? Come to think of it, this was the first time Chushun had ever seen student Su smile. So, she could smile after all. And when she smiled, she actually looked kind of beautiful. At the school gate, their homeroom teacher Wan Li-hong was doing her daily inspection, checking students' appearance and whether anyone was late. Any student who got caught would be lectured for a long time before being allowed to leave. In Wan Li-hong's eyes, every behavior on campus that violated school rules had to be eliminated. But right then, she saw an unforgivable act. Wan Li-hong never expected that some students would actually dare to engage in puppy love right under her nose. After all, she was already 36 and had never dated anyone. It had to be because too many students were dating early and stealing all the romance slots that should have belonged to her. Wan Li-hong immediately called the two of them to stop. But once she saw who they were, disbelief flashed across her face. She could not understand how these two had ended up together. It turned out they were none other than Chu Xun and Su Muqing, who had just finished dealing with the balloon incident. And the so-called puppy love behavior Wan Li-hong saw was simply Su Muqing helping Chu Xun remove a leaf from his hair. Wan Li-hong was completely stunned. These two were the crown jewels of her class, the trump cards she used to dominate the homeroom teachers of the other two elite classes. And now they actually dared to date? She did not even dare imagine what they might do next. One of them might turn into a street-racing, yellow-haired delinquent. The other might become one of those dramatic girls always crying about looking for a boy to protect me. The moment Wan Li-hong thought of that, she felt her bonus and special grade teacher evaluation drifting farther and farther away. And every single one of those thoughts was heard clearly by Su Muqing. She nearly wanted to cry. Teacher, what on earth are you thinking to completely cut off any signs of puppy love between them? Wang Li-hong decided to call Chu Xun aside for a private talk. She seriously pointed at a pink flower bud on the tree. Student Chu Xun, look at this. What is it? Chu Xun looked confused. A flower bud? What about it? Wan Li-hong nodded. Exactly. You see, for a flower bud to bloom, it must follow the rhythm of nature. If it is forced to ripen early in a greenhouse, it may wither in the wind and rain before the real summer even arrives. Only by waiting for the right season can it bear the sweetest fruit. Some things in life are the same. Do you understand what I mean? Chu Xun nodded calmly. Completely. Then he adjusted his glasses seriously. But Teacher Wang, with all due respect, I absolutely cannot support your approach. What you mean is that you want me to focus my energy on your main subject, which happens to be my strongest science subjects, and give up on weaker subjects like Chinese, letting them mature naturally, right? But that is not my style. I will never give up. Hearing that this was how Chu Xun understood her words, Wan Li-hong was instantly speechless. Wait, how did this kid even interpret it that way? No, they had to start over. Wan Li-hong took a deep breath. Student Chu Xun, look, youth is like a poem. At your age, developing a vague fondness for someone of the opposite sex is completely normal. It can be a very mysterious feeling, like something suddenly filling your heart, making you smile foolishly at your homework without realizing it, or making you replay some meaningless conversation again and again, late at night. You might even find yourself thinking how wonderful it would be if a road the two of you walked together had no end. Chu Xun was completely baffled and quickly interrupted Wan Li-hong before she could continue. Teacher, you don't need to say more. I understand. So, teacher, are you saying you want to fall in love? Wan Li-hong nearly broke down on the spot. You are supposed to have the highest IQ after Su Muqing. How can you not understand what I'm saying? Or is this kid deliberately changing the subject? What she did not know was that Su Muqing, standing behind them, was also about to break down after hearing Wan Li-hong's inner thoughts. Could teacher please stop making wild assumptions? If this affects my scholarship evaluation, I'm finished. Fine, I might as well explain it myself. Thinking this, Su Muqing stepped forward and said to Wan Li-hong, Teacher, you may have misunderstood. I and student Chu Xun only happened to run into each other on the way to school, so we came here together. There is none of that weird stuff you are imagining. But after hearing Su Muqing's explanation, Wan Li-hong became even more convinced that the two were in the middle of a passionate romance. Wasn't this exactly the scene where someone saw their beloved being pulled aside for questioning, and immediately stepped in to rescue him? In those cliched web novels, what's this trope called again? The overprotective boyfriend? So these two were definitely dating early. Su Muqing was utterly speechless. Seriously, teacher, what kind of imagination is this? You are the real genius love brain here. Chu Xun had no idea what was going on between them. They kept reacting so dramatically that he could not be bothered anymore. After greeting them, he headed back to class. Seeing this, Su Muqing also followed and left. But before she had taken more than a few steps, she suddenly stopped, because she heard Wan Li-hong's imagined inner monologue again. These two usually do not even have many chances to interact, so how did they suddenly start dating? No wonder student Chu Xun has been acting so strangely lately. Just take yesterday. when student Su Muqing fell down and student Chu Shun rushed forward so eagerly to check on her. And before that, after school when no one was around, she had often seen student Chu Shun standing under the grade-ranking board, touching Su Muqing's name over and over again. He even lay on student Su Muqing's desk and sniffed the scent she left behind. Wan Li Hong confidently adjusted her glasses. So, was student Chu Shun the one pursuing student Su? Su Muqing, who overheard that thought, was instantly shocked. She turned to look at Chu Shun not far away, and could not help thinking, had this guy really been secretly paying attention to her all along? Su Muqing's face turned red, but at the same time, she also felt a little scared. After all, those behaviors did sound kind of terrifying. What they did not know was that Chu Shun had only touched Su Muqing's name because he hated the fact that she had stolen first place from him again. And as for lying on her desk, he was merely trying to study the feng shui behind Su Muqing's high scores from a mystical perspective. It had already been 23 hours since Chu Shun triggered the first mission to win over the school beauty, yet he still had not managed to hold Su Muqing's hand. Now, only 13 hours remained before the failure deadline. That left Chu Shun, who had just arrived in the classroom, deeply troubled. But then his best friend, Fang Yuan, suddenly started acting up, making Chu Shun even more troubled. Something about wanting a free life, being surrounded by fine wine, luxury cars, and beautiful women. Chu Shun was completely speechless. He quietly moved his desk away. If you want to make a wish, go to a temple. If you want to dream, wait until night. And as a member of the Youth League, I firmly oppose feudal superstition. So we should draw a clear line. In plain language, if you want to go crazy, do it by yourself. Seeing this, Fan Wan immediately pulled out a Doraemon plush. Chu Shun looked at him in confusion. What's this about? Only then did Fang Yuan reveal his real purpose. He wanted to stay at Chu Shun's house this week because his dad was coming back tomorrow. If his dad found out how badly he had scored on this exam, Fang Yuan might not survive the night. Chu Shun was even more speechless. You went in that huge circle just for this? I'll accept the gift, but you can take your sincerity back. According to my long-term statistics, every 15 minutes you study, you produce 7 irrelevant sighs, 5 noise events, and 3 questions completely unrelated to studium. Your interference coefficient is 3.2 times higher than the maximum tolerance of my study environment. In other words, your presence directly turns my study efficiency into hard mode. It's like raising a monkey inside an experiment designed to measure the speed of light. It's not that it can't be done, but no one with basic scientific literacy would ever allow such a disastrous experimental design to exist. Fang Yuan exploded on the spot. Wow, are you even my brother anymore? You're treating your own brother like a Trojan horse study bomb? No wonder you always get crushed by student Su. Look at her. She studies well, and she's pretty too. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration crossed Chu Shun's mind. What did you just say? Fang Yuan got a little scared under his stare. What are you trying to do? I just said, student Su is pretty and kind. Chu Shun immediately replied, not that sentence, the one before it. Fan Yuan looked confused. The Trojan horse that affects studying? Chu Shun smiled faintly. Exactly, that was it. So why couldn't he place a studying disruptor beside student Su? That way, wouldn't her studying get disrupted? But before that, Chu Shun still had to complete the hand-holding mission. The problem was, how was he supposed to get close to Su Muqing? Just then, Chu Shun's phone suddenly rang. He opened it and saw a message from his mom, asking him to stop by the old apartment they had rented out after school and help the tenant check the broken water heater. Seeing this, Chu Shun could not help looking towards Su Muqing. Seriously, did she not know how precious my time was? I still had to figure out how to get close to student Su. And once again, Su Muqing heard that thought loud and clear. Her face turned red all over again, and she could not understand it at all. Why was student Chu Shun still thinking about getting close to her? Soon, it was lunchtime, and everyone rushed off to the cafeteria. But Chu Shun noticed that Su Muqing did not go eat at all. Instead, she actually used her lunch break to study. That level of grinding was so intense even Chu Shun had to respect it. And the consequence of pushing herself like that was obvious by the time school ended that evening. Su Muqing's body was already completely exhausted. On top of that, the water heater at home had broken last night, forcing her to take a cold shower. Now, she was almost at her limit. What made things worse was that she only had 7 yuan and 50 cents left to her name, while her scholarship would not arrive for another 4 full days. The reason Su Muqing worked so hard was simple. Her family situation was truly awful. At first, her family had not been this tight on money. But her parents' marriage suddenly fell apart, and unexpected debt crashed down on them. For a mother and daughter in a single-parent household, it was nothing short of a disaster. Su Muqing had worked hard enough to get into Qingshan High as a top scholarship student. All her fees were waived, and her yearly scholarship was a 5-figure amount. Yet she had sensibly used all of it to help her mother pay off debt. Even so, that money was still nothing compared to the massive debt they owed. Originally, she and her mother could barely scrape together the monthly repayment through careful budgeting. But these past few days, her grandmother had fallen ill, so her mother had no choice but to leave work and return to their hometown to take care of her. The trip ended up taking longer than expected, and as a result, the living expenses left for Su Muqing had been reduced to only 7 yuan and 50 cents, no matter how carefully she saved. Of course, she could ask her mother for money, but Su Muqing knew her mother was struggling too. She did not want to make things harder for her, so she chose to endure it herself. As long as she budgeted carefully, she should still be able to get through it. A pack of dried noodles for 1 yuan and 50 cents, discounted eggs at 1 yuan for 2, and the near-expired vitamin tablets she had stocked up before. That was all the capital she had for the next 4 days of extreme survival. As long as she held on, she could make it until the scholarship was issued. Suddenly, Su Muqing heard a knocking sound coming from the bathroom. She was instantly startled. If her mother was not home, then how could there be someone else in the house? Could it be a thief? But my family is already this poor. What kind of thief would still break in here? Then Su Muqing grabbed her broom and slowly moved toward the bathroom door, shouting, "Whoever is inside, listen carefully. I know you're in there. I've already called the police. If you don't leave right now, don't blame me for getting rough." Meanwhile, Shushun, who was inside fixing the water heater, slowly took off his earphones and looked toward the door in confusion. Did someone come home? While Chushin was distracted, the battery in his hand accidentally dropped to the floor. So he crouched down, ready to pick it up. But right then, Su Muqing kicked the bathroom door open with full momentum and stormed in. As a result, she stepped right on Chushin's head while he was picking something up. Chushin instinctively grabbed the foot that had suddenly appeared and sniffed it in confusion. This scent feels kind of familiar. Su Muqing was startled. Before she could even see who was in front of her, she had already mistaken Chushin for some huge pervert. She quickly pulled her foot back, raised the broom, and smashed it down hard. Fortunately, Chushin reacted fast enough and caught the broom with his bare hands like he was catching a blade. In that moment, the two of them finally recognized each other. Chushin wore an expression that said he had known it all along. No wonder that smell felt so familiar. He immediately stood up and struck an extremely classic pose. There is only one truth. So, Student Su, you're the tenant here, right? When Su Muqing realized the person in her bathroom was actually Chushin, she was completely stunned. She never imagined Chushin would be hiding in her bathroom. Then she remembered the thought she had heard from him at school today. He had to find a way to get close to Student Su. Wasn't this straight-up harassment, stalking, and pervert behavior? Especially now that only the two of them were in the house? Was she about to become fish on a pervert's chopping board? No. She had to call the police. So, before Chushin could explain, Su Muqing backed away at a 100-meter sprint speed and prepared to call the police. Chushin was left completely confused by the scene. Weren't they classmates? Why did she run without saying a word after seeing him? Only then did Chushin suddenly remember that he had basically appeared in her home out of nowhere and had not explained himself yet. So he quickly came to the living room and called out to Su Muqing before she could call the police. Don't panic. I need to explain. First, this apartment is rented out by my family. Your family reported that the water heater was broken, so I came over as the landlord's son to check it. Second, before entering, I already called your mom and got her permission. That's why I used your spare key to come in. And lastly, the water heater isn't actually broken. The battery just ran out, so it needs to be replaced. Even though Chushin explained everything clearly, Su Muqing still remained cautious. Then don't come any closer. I'm going to call my mom and confirm it. As soon as the call connected, Su Muqing immediately told her mother what had happened at home. After confirming the situation, she finally hung up. Then Su Muqing apologized to Chushin in deep embarrassment. I got too worked up just now and attacked before figuring things out. Also, your parents have always taken good care of my family. I'm really grateful to all of you. Chushin replied, It's fine. That was normal. If someone suddenly appeared in my house, I would be nervous too. But Chushin still reminded her seriously. There's one thing I need to point out. The way you handled it just now was very dangerous. If you suspect the bad person has entered your home, you absolutely should not confront them face to face, and you should not shout loudly either. The correct thing to do is quietly leave the apartment, go to a public place where there are people, or find the security guard and have someone reliable confirm the situation with you. Su King touched her fingers awkwardly after hearing that. Oh, I understand. Once the misunderstanding was cleared up, Chushin immediately helped her replace the water heater battery. Done. You'll be able to take a hot shower tonight. As he spoke, Chushin looked at King. He really had not expected the tenant of this old apartment to be student Su. He only remembered his mom mentioning before that the tenant auntie had a difficult life. For some unknown reason, she owed a huge debt, and the mother and daughter had been relying on each other ever since. He never expected that student Su was actually that daughter. At the same time, King was also listening to this part of Chushin's inner thoughts. After hearing that, she thought Chushin was just like the people who mocked and looked down on her, and her lips unconsciously tightened. The reason King hated hearing other people's thoughts was because, ever since she was little, she had seen too many people act sympathetic on the surface, while secretly thinking of her with contempt and distance. Even after she grew up and became the perfect child, praised by teachers and parents, she was still rejected in the hearts of so-called friends and classmates. That was also why she had no friends. King thought to herself, so student Chushin, are you that kind of person too? But in the next second, King froze, because Chushin's final thought was actually this. I never expected student Su to be this terrifying. What kind of genius is this woman? Even under such harsh circumstances, her studies aren't affected at all, and she still sits firmly at the top, especially compared to me, who has far better conditions. I am still a defeated man under this woman, but no matter what, I will still go all out to defeat student Su. After hearing that, King could not help laughing happily. What a stubborn idiot. Just then, Chushin suddenly spoke. But, student Su, are you short on money? Actually, you have something very marketable. King immediately grew nervous and hugged her chest. What do you mean by that? Marketable? The moment she heard the word marketable, King could not help thinking of illegal things. She immediately said, I am not that kind of girl. Chushin looked completely confused. What are you thinking? I'm talking about a proper, legal job. King quickly apologized. Sorry. It's mainly because, student Chushin, when you say things like marketable, it's really easy to misunderstand. Chushin said seriously. I'm not wrong. You really do have something marketable. Did you forget? You were the top scorer in our year's high school entrance exam. Isn't that a great selling point? King still did not quite understand. Wasn't it just first place in the entrance exam? That sentence struck Chushin deeply. Chushin roared in his mind. Student Su, seriously, how can you care so little about being number one? Do you know that in this world, everyone only notices the person in first place? No one ever pays attention to the one who came right after you in the entrance exam. Me, Shu number 2. Sure enough, a casual sentence from the strong could easily become the sharpest blade in their hands. Chushin's Dao heart was once again brutally trampled underfoot. But today would be the day he overtook her. Meanwhile, King, who could still hear all of these thoughts, looked at him like he was an idiot, and honestly had no idea what to say. At this point, Chushin finally explained his idea. He wanted King to work as a tutor. The title of entrance exam top scorer would definitely be attractive enough. But King said she had thought about that long ago. She simply could not find the right opportunity, so she had to put the idea aside for now. Chushin pointed at himself. Perfect timing. I happen to know someone who needs a tutor. I can introduce you. King's eyes instantly lit up. Really? Thank you so much, student Chushin. Then, how should I repay you? Should I give you a commission? Or something else? Chushin gave a knowing smile. I don't need any repayment from you. There's just one thing I need to remind you about. If you become a tutor, your time will definitely be taken up. That means your studies will be affected to some degree. Student Su, do you mind that? King said she did not mind, because she really needed the job. Chushin's eyes shifted slightly. Is that so? Then, student Su, what if your grades drop? So this was his real goal. He wanted the tutoring job to take up King's time, drag down her grades, and give him a chance to seize first place. But, King said proudly, Student Chu, let me tell you a secret about myself. As long as I've learned something once, I won't forget it. After saying that, she happily walked toward the kitchen. Student Chu, you haven't eaten yet, right? I'll make something. Chushin's Dao heart shattered once again. So this was the confidence of the number one student? But it did not matter. He would let her witness his ultimate master plan, the Trojan horse. The student, Chushin, wanted to introduce as the tutoring client was none other than the disgrace of the city's education world, the graveyard of passing scores, someone who had forced both a provincial top scorer and a leading teacher to retreat one after another. She was a literal walking grade killer. Within a 5-meter radius of her, knowledge would vanish like a vampire exposed to sunlight. Chu Shun could already picture Su Muqing being crushed under her feet. In the kitchen, Su Muqing looked at the dried noodles, lard, eggs, and other ingredients, and suddenly felt a little embarrassed. She knew student Chu would not look down on her, but as the host, serving only these things, still felt a little shabby. But right then, Chu Shun walked in with his notebook. So this is what student Su usually eats. The moment he spoke, Su Muqing jumped in fright. How do you walk without making any sound? She then asked awkwardly. What? Are you interested in this, student Chu? It may just be simple noodles mixed with lard, but it actually tastes pretty good. But as soon as she finished speaking, Chu Shun eagerly started writing in his notebook while praising her. You really are a super genius. Lard plus noodles plus greens and eggs. Isn't this the most efficient and perfect golden ratio for brain function? Fat ensures efficient myelin sheath transmission. Carbohydrates provide a stable baseline. Vitamins clearing neural metabolic waste. And complete protein finishes the final round of cellular repair. At the same time, the extremely simple cooking process and eating method save enough time to solve several extra optional math problems. The money saved can even be used to print more practice papers at the copy shop. This is a perfect positive cycle. Su Muqing, standing beside him, was completely stunned. No, seriously, what is this guy imagining now? Later, when Chu Shun tasted the noodles, he ate with extreme seriousness and praised them solemnly. Seeing that Chu Shun liked the food so much, Su Muqing also felt genuinely happy. After they finished eating, Su Muqing suddenly took the initiative to hold Chu Shun's hand. Whether this tutoring job works out or not, I'm really grateful for your help, student Chu. Next time I get the chance, I'll treat you to a proper meal. And at that exact moment, the system's voice rang out in Chu Shun's mind. Congratulations, host. Beginner mission completed. Handshake of friendship. The host may claim the completion reward at any time. Chu Shun didn't even react for a moment. Wait, it's completed just like that? Ever since completing Su Muqing's mission last night, Chu Shun had planned to use today's break time to talk to his younger female cousin about tutoring. His mom said, perfect timing. Let's go together. We'll stop by the vegetable market first and buy some food to bring over. The moment she said that, Chu Shun felt it was completely unnecessary. His cousin's family lived right upstairs. Wasn't it just a hot pot meal? At home, they still had those World War II-era frozen meat slices his mom bought from some sketchy social media seller, the suspicious drinks that had been regifted 8 times during last year's New Year visits, and the industrial-grade chili oil packets that came free with past takeout orders. If they brought those over and threw them together, wouldn't that count as hot pot? Why waste more money? After hearing that, his mom slapped him on the spot. What is wrong with your brain? I never saw you trying to save money before, but now you're suddenly acting cheap? Have you ever seen anyone bring this kind of junk when visiting someone else's home? Chu Shun froze, right? For some reason, from the moment he stepped into this vegetable market, Chu Shun had felt a surging power. The joy of harvest. This was living. This was breathing. That was right. This was the real him. Seeing his expression, his mom broke into a cold sweat. What is this brat spazzing out about now? Forget it. Better just finish buying groceries first. Then his mom skillfully began bargaining. With just a few words, she came away with several full bags of vegetables. But just as the mother and son were about to leave, a voice called out to them. Well, well, if it isn't Boss Lee. And this handsome young man decides you must be your son, right? How filial, coming out to shop with his mom. My vegetables are especially fresh today. Want to take a look? I'll give you a discount. The speaker was none other than the queen of the vegetable market, Iron-Toothed Asian. Hearing the faint teasing in the woman's voice, Chu Shun looked at his mom in confusion. You know her? His mom explained. Know her? She's my lifelong rival. I've dominated this vegetable market for over 10 years, and she's the only person I've ever lost to. In other words, getting a discount from her is basically impossible. Even so, his mom accepted the battle. Business looks good, Asian. How much are these greens? Asian waved her hand. Not expensive. Only 5 yuan a pound. His mom opened fire immediately. Oh wow, are these greens made of gold or what? Final offer, 2 yuan. I can take a few more. Zen stayed calm. Boss Lee, come on now. These greens came from a proper greenhouse, and you still think they're expensive? Just like that, the two began what was probably their 1000th bargaining war. Chu Shun, standing behind them, was seeing this kind of scene for the first time. But for some reason, he felt an itch in his heart, as if a powerful impulse was rising inside him. So Chu Shun spoke up and wanted to give it a try. But his mom immediately refused. Relax. I still have one more move, retreat to advance. Then, she took Chushin by the hand and pretended to leave, deliberately raising her voice as she said, Ajen really is getting stingier. We've bought vegetables here for so many years, and she still won't give us a discount. Come on, let's check another stall. However, Ajen had no intention of responding at all. Instead, she leisurely started playing on her phone. His mom dragged out the moment as slowly as possible, stalling for a full 3 minutes. Seeing that Ajen still showed no reaction, his mom finally grew frustrated. How infuriating. At that moment, Chu Shen made his heroic entrance. Mom, take a break. I can't hold back anymore. Leave it to your son. From here on out, it's showtime. Chu Shun walked up to Ajen and pointed at the greens like some domineering CEO. These ones, 4 yuan total. Sell them to me. Ajen snorted with disdain. Kid, did studying fry your brain? At that moment, Chushin suddenly became deeply sincere. Can't you, auntie? First of all, the edges of these leaves show about 18% water loss, and there are obvious signs of wilting. That means they were picked over 72 hours ago. They also have bug holes. So, since I'm just a student, could you make them a little cheaper? This pretty boy tactic instantly left Ajen struggling to hold her ground. Just like that, Chushun easily won the bargaining battle. His mom standing behind him was completely shocked. Wait, are you still my son? You didn't get possessed by something, did you? You've been acting weird ever since you woke up this morning. Hearing that, Chushin froze. Right. What exactly had he just done? Suddenly, he remembered the rewards he had received after completing last night's mission. 100 experience points, 3,000 yuan, and a new upgradable white trait, budget-saving little expert. When equipped, this trait increased calculation ability by 5% and luck by 5%. It also allowed him to master all kinds of money-saving life tricks, calculate the cheapest solution within a limited budget, and encounter discounted items with higher probability. On top of that, the system had unlocked Sumu Qing's advanced mission. Interlock fingers with Sumu Qing for 1 full minute and complete it within 48 hours. At the time, Chu Shin had simply wanted to test the effect of the new trait, so after returning home, he equipped it immediately. Unexpectedly, it also gave him an additional effect called Savings Mode. While shopping, it would automatically calculate the best discounts. While bargaining with vendors at a market, it would grant the buff Too Pitiful to Refuse, increasing Elder Affinity by 50%. When ordering takeout, it could automatically stack every hidden platform coupon, but delivery time would randomly increase by 5 to 15 minutes. The effect lasted 24 hours and could not be interrupted. There was also a special warning. If this trait was equipped together with a domineering CEO-type trait, it would trigger a split personality debuff. Thinking about the trait description made Chushin feel strange. But right now, he really was terrifyingly powerful. No, powerful my foot. He had gone through endless hardship, suffering, trials, crossing mountains of swords and seas of fire, enduring epic trials and tribulations, and all he got was this trash trait. Although Chushin was furious about the result. For some reason, when he remembered Sumu Qing's smile during that handshake, he suddenly felt it was not that bad. Forget it. It was not completely meaningless. After that, mother and son arrived at his second uncle's home. Before entering his cousin's room to find her, Chushin asked his mom to bring over the prepared equipment first. His mom looked utterly speechless. I really don't understand you. Every time you go see your cousin, you have to do this. A moment later, Chushin was wrapped up tightly from head to toe, carrying some small snacks as he walked toward his cousin's room. The reason he did this was because, in his imagination, his cousin's room was a lair filled with the evil underachiever virus of an ancient god. If he inhaled even the tiniest bit of it, he would instantly transform into an ultimate idiot. Once infected, even if the full score was 650, getting 65 would already be impressive. This was even scarier than bargaining. Meanwhile, inside his cousin's room, she and her friends had turned off the lights and were playing the pencil spirit game. They had just reached the summoning step. Then, Chu Shun, wrapped up like a horror movie killer, walked out. Have you finished your homework? The two friends, who had no idea what was going on, were instantly scared out of their minds. The pencil spirit has appeared. It's a perverted raincoat killer. Only his cousin remained completely calm. Bro, why are you here? She was the tutoring target Chu Shen wanted to introduce, Chu Lan. But once the two friends realized it was Chu Shun, they became even more terrified. After all, they had naturally heard of this legendary honor student who loved studying like other people loved lust, and supposedly wanted to eliminate every underachiever. As underachievers themselves, how could they dare stay any longer? Without another word, they said goodbye and fled. Chu Shun was completely confused. Am I really that scary? Seeing this, Chu Lan immediately scolded him. Why didn't you knock before coming in? What if I was changing clothes? Bro, you're so OOTL, and you're dressed like a total creep. How are you ever going to find a wife like this? Chu Shun had no idea what that abbreviation meant. He only noticed that her trait was actually blue quality. The name was just a little bizarre. Extracurricular muscle freak. As long as she gave up on studying, she would become the strongest cousin at everything else. Chu Shun straightened his clothes and said seriously, "We haven't seen each other in a while, and now you dare question me? Looks like I need to talk to your mom about your recent exam scores. Also, you were playing some pencil spirit game just now, weren't you?" Seeing that Chu Shun looked ready to snitch, Shu Lan immediately surrendered. "Brother, I was wrong. Please don't. My mom only just threatened me yesterday to study properly. If she finds out we were playing again today, do you want your adorable little sister to die at the age of 14? Chu Sun said calmly. "Actually, I have quite a few female cousins. Losing one doesn't seem like a big deal." Shu Lan immediately begged, No, I was wrong, okay?" Seeing that her apology seemed sincere enough, Chu Shun finally spared her. "By the way, you were playing Pencil Spirit just now, right?" Chu Lan nodded. "Yeah, bro, don't tell me you want to play too?" As a probationary party member, Chu Shun naturally did not believe in this so-called Pencil Spirit game. What he cared about was that playing this game seemed to require interlocking fingers, and his next mission with Su Muqing required him to interlock fingers with her for more than 1 minute. Maybe he could start from this angle. So Chu Shun brought up the tutoring matter and asked Chu Lan for help at the same time. "I heard you weren't satisfied with the tutor I found for you." Chu Lan said, "It's not that I'm targeting you, brother. I just treat all tutors with equal hostility. The real question is, why does a sports student like me have to improve cultural subjects anyway?" Chu Shun calmly reminded her, "As far as I know, sports students still need cultural subject scores for admission. Sure, you can try to get a recommendation spot, but using my own school as an example, Qingshan High requires sports students to have a national first-class athlete certificate and at least a third-place award in a national competition to qualify. So student Lan, what level athlete are you again? And what national competition results do you have?" Those words left Chu Lan completely speechless, and the atmosphere became extremely awkward. But Chu Xin was not done. "So assuming you can't get a recommendation spot, you can only take the entrance exam. Even if you score full marks in your sports specialty, with your last cultural subject score of 67, you won't even touch the gate of a high school. Out of 620 points, getting 67 is honestly a talent in itself. Do you even recognize all the Chinese characters? Or do you not understand the questions?" Even Chu Lan could not take it anymore. "Stop talking, brother. I'm an idiot, okay? No matter how I study, I can't learn it. What am I supposed to do? Besides, it's not like I haven't had tutors before. Didn't you, the second-ranked student in the entire city, tutor me personally? Back in 8th grade, I could still score over 100. Now I can only score 67. So whose fault do you think that is?" That counterattack completely caught Chu Shun off guard. "You really have the nerve to say that?" Chu Shin waved it off. "Forget it. I won't argue with you about that. In any case, this time, I'll find you a new tutor. Just listen to me. This time is really different. If I, the city's second-ranked student, am not good enough, then I'll find you the city's top scorer from my year." Hearing this, Chu Lan asked in confusion, "Don't tell me it's that Su Muqing from your class." Chu Shun nodded. "Exactly." Chu Lan instantly got excited for gossip. "But isn't she the lifelong enemy you keep talking about?" Chu Shun awkwardly argued back. "That was before, now we're friends." Chu Lan teased. "Oh really? Why does it sound like more than friends?" Chu Shin immediately cut her off. "Why does a kid ask so many questions? Just tell me if you agree or not." Chu Lan said, Fine. I'll do it as a favor for you, brother." "But what do you need me to do?" Chu Shin explained, "You don't need to change anything. Just stay exactly the way you are and perform steadily. Use that overwhelming idiot virus of yours to brutally disrupt student Su's brainwaves." Just thinking that Su Muqing's grades might drop because of this made Chu Shin laugh out loud. Chu Lan looked completely confused. "What exactly can I steadily perform? Is brother trying to use my naturally gifted cuteness? Don't tell me brother is actually pursuing student Su and wants to use your adorable little sister as a bridge to get closer to her?" While the two siblings were busy imagining completely different things, the living room was also buzzing with conversation. Chu Shin's second uncle, Chu Renxiong, a full-time ace coach at the Provincial Track and Field Management Center, asked Chu Shin's mom with a worried look. "So who exactly is this tutor Asian is introducing this time? Last time, Xiao Lan angered a retired special grade teacher so badly that the man quit and went off to grow organic vegetables. Come to think of it, the old Chu family is either into sports or music. We don't have any study genes at all. As for Ah Shun, that abnormal case doesn't count." Chu Shun's parents said they did not know either. In any case, that kid seemed very proactive this time. Just then, Chu Xin, who had finished discussing things with Chu Lan, walked out. It's settled. Tomorrow I'll bring the tutor over for a trial lesson. Chu Lan's mother asked, curiously, Shun, which year is that entrance exam top scorer from? Chu Xun answered, she's from my year. Sumu Qing. She's in the same class as me. The moment he said that, Chu Xun's mom seemed to discover something. Then she pulled Chu Xun's dad, Chu Renxiong, and his wife into an intense discussion. No one knew what they talked about, but in the end, all of them looked at Chu Xun with mischievous smiles. After his cousin agreed to let Sumu Qing become her tutor, time quickly reached the next school day. Since they had forgotten to exchange contact information before, Sumu Qing arrived early at the bus stop outside the school gate to wait for Chu Xin. She wanted to know whether the tutoring job had been settled. While waiting, Sumu Qing felt inexplicably restless. She still did not know what grade the tutoring student was in, what their learning progress looked like, what target school they had, or which weak subjects needed the most improvement. She knew almost nothing about the other person's situation, but Sumu Qing, who was already running out of resources, knew that no matter what, she had to secure this tutoring opportunity. Just then, she finally saw Chu Xin. But Chu Xun seemed to be caught up with a girl, and the two of them appeared to be arguing about something. That girl was, of course, Chu Xin's cousin, Chu Lam. It turned out Chu Lan had already made plans with her classmates to visit an anime merch store on Saturday and wanted Chu Xun to help cover for her with her mom. She even used the full 3-hit combo of acting cute. Please, pretty please, I'm begging you. Seeing this, Chu Xin said, it's not impossible, but on Saturday night, I'll need you to help me with something too. Chu Lan immediately promised. No problem, whether it's climbing a mountain of blades or crossing a sea of fire. If your little sister even frowns once, I'll take your last name. Seeing this, Chu Xin immediately pulled out his phone. Wow, taking my last name, huh? Fine. I'll call your mom right now and have her sign you up for another weekend interest class. Chu Lan hurriedly begged for mercy. No, I was wrong, bro. I'll never mess around again. Seeing that Chu Lan had agreed, Chu Xin told her to come closer. Then, he explained in advance how she should cooperate when Sumu Qing came over to tutor her. However, that scene of them whispering to each other was completely misunderstood by Sumu Qing, who was standing not far away. From Sumu Qing's perspective, Chu Xin and Chu Lan looked like they were kissing in public, so she immediately mistook Chu Lan for Chu Xin's girlfriend. This shocked Sumu Qing deeply. She never expected that even someone like student Chu could have a girlfriend. Meanwhile, after listening to Chu Xun's plan, Chu Lan broke into a mischievous smile. I get it, brother. Don't worry. Leave this to me. I guarantee I'll overcomplete the mission. But seeing how confident Chu Lan looked, Chu Xun actually felt even more uneasy. He had a bad feeling that she might have misunderstood something. After all, the scary part was not a useless teammate failing the mission. The scary part was a useless teammate suddenly getting a strange idea while completing it. Suddenly, Chu Xun sensed a wave of killing intent behind him. He quickly dodged to the side. In the next second, Fang Yuan launched an Ultraman flying kick. But the result was a sudden tragedy below the belt. Fang Yuan let out a heartbreaking howl. Chu Xun looked confused. What are you doing? Clutching himself in pain, Fang Yuan groaned. You still have the nerve to ask what I'm doing? I should be asking you that. When did you get such a cute girlfriend? So he had also mistaken Chu Lan for Chu Xun's girlfriend. Didn't we agree to support each other and spend the rest of our girlfriendless lives together? Chu Xun calmly replied, I don't remember making that kind of agreement. While the two of them were messing around, Chu Lan suddenly pointed at Feng Yuan. Isn't this the pervert big brother? Feng Wen was stunned. Huh? He was just about to ask how she knew him, but as he kept looking at her, a familiar figure surfaced in his mind, and he finally recognized Chu Xun's cousin. So it's you, little Maruko. When did you get so tall? Chu Lan said. That's normal. Puberty, you know. But pervert big brother, why haven't you changed much? I seem taller than you now. Fang Yuan quickly told her to stop. Seriously, she only knew how to hurt people. Once he realized Chu Lan was not Chu Xun's girlfriend, Fang Yuan became happy again. Shin, I misunderstood you just now, so you didn't betray the organization after all. I'm relieved that you still don't have a girlfriend. Chu Xun replied, Stop. I don't remember joining that kind of organization. The only organization I currently belong to is the Communist Youth League. Seeing this, Chu Lan did not keep bothering them. After saying goodbye, she went off to find her teammates for training. When Fang Yuan saw how cute she looked, his heart immediately started to waver. He could not help leaning toward Chu Xun. Shun, I'm just saying, When did little Maruko get this cute? Why didn't you tell me earlier? But as he kept talking, Fang Yuan suddenly felt a wave of killing intent. Chu Xin immediately warned him, "Don't forget Article 236 of the criminal law. Put away those dangerous eyes right now, or I'll help you measure which is tougher, the iron bars of prison or your delusions." After saying that, Chu Shun walked toward the classroom. Fang Yuan quickly chased after him. "Hey Shun, that's too serious. I'm just curious. Speaking of which, why did little Maruko suddenly come to our school? Isn't she still in middle school?" Chu Shun explained. "Her school has a training match today, so they borrowed our school's sports building." In the classroom, Sumu Ching remained distracted, her mind filled with the thought that student Chu actually had a girlfriend. No matter how she thought about it, it did not seem possible. Did I misunderstand? But that kissing scene just now really didn't look fake. Student Chu is clearly the kind of person who could shout, "I want to marry mathematics." For someone like that to actually have a girlfriend is honestly strange. Come to think of it, Fang Wan also seems very familiar with that girl, and student Fang is student Chu's childhood friend. In other words, that girl is actually student Chu's childhood sweetheart, right? Chu Soon had no idea that in such a short time, Sumu King had already imagined so many identities for his cousin. Soon, lunchtime arrived. Chu Shun was still sighing to himself. To think humans actually have to waste time on something as meaningless as eating. If only this time could be used to solve practice problems or memorize vocabulary. Forget it. He could use the excuse of delivering food to see if he could complete the mission. Just as Chu Xin was about to bring food to Sumu Ching, his best friend Fang Yuan suddenly appeared and said he had something to discuss, scaring Chu Xin into hiding the food first. After all, if Fang Yuan saw it, he would definitely misunderstand something again. Fang Yuan held his forehead with a troubled expression and said he had a bold theory. He believed Sumu Ching might like him. The moment Chu Xin heard that, he sprayed water everywhere. "Fatty, are you out of your mind?" Fang Yuan explained seriously. "I have evidence. This morning at the school gate, when I was talking with you and little Maruko, I saw Sumu King secretly glancing at me. Later in class, I noticed she kept looking at me on purpose, or maybe not on purpose. So tell me, if that's not love, what is it? Normally, it would be fine. But why does she have to like me now? I only hinted to Zhang Xuan last week that I had feelings for her. But now Sumu Ching likes me too. If Zhang Xuan also accepts my confession, how am I supposed to choose? Shun, what should I do? Why is my youth romantic comedy always full of problems?" Hearing Fang Yuan's self-absorbed nonsense, Chu Xun was almost unable to hold back his laughter. "Is it possible that your hints weren't clear enough? Otherwise, why hasn't student Zhang Xuan called the police yet?" All Chu Xun could say was that Fatty's delusions were getting worse. But that was normal. After all, adolescence always came with the three great illusions of life. I can win this game, I can make a comeback, and she likes me. Chu Xun then gave his advice. "Actually, Fatty, this problem of yours is very easy to solve. As long as you boldly show them your browser history, they won't bother you anymore. Then naturally, you won't feel troubled either. Also, remember to lend me your ID card and a photocopy of it. Next time I play Fight the Landlord, I'll have an extra pair of jokers compared to everyone else." Fang Yuan heard that and almost wanted to punch Chu Xun on the spot. "Your mouth is seriously poisonous. I have put up with you for a long time. I treat you like a brother, and it's fine if you don't believe me. But you keep making fun of me too. Come on, I want to duel you." Chu Xun could not be bothered with him and went off with the lunchbox to find Sumu Ching. Over by the stairwell, Sumu Ching's mind was a complete mess, still wondering whether that girl was Chu Xun's girlfriend. Should I just ask student Chu directly? But that is his private business. Why should I ask? Or could I use the excuse of being curious as a friend? Just then, Chu Xun, who had happened to hear something, walked up. "Student Su, what are you planning to ask me?" The sudden voice startled Sumu Ching so badly that the lunchbox full of mixed noodles in her hand accidentally flew out. Looking at her only meal lying on the floor, Sumu Ching started wondering if she should pick it up. After all, didn't people always say that if something fell on the ground for less than 5 seconds, it counted as never falling? But Chu Shen stopped her. Student Su doesn't need to go that far. Then he handed her the lunchbox he had prepared in advance. "Eat this, don't be polite." Sumu Ching was a little surprised. "But student Chu, if you give me your lunch, what will you eat?" Chu Shin took out another portion. "Don't worry and eat. I prepared 2 portions from the start. That one was originally brought for you. After all, didn't you say before that you only had a few yuan left? Considering that even the cheapest meal in the cafeteria costs around 10 yuan, I guessed you probably couldn't afford lunch." After hearing that this lunch had been specially prepared for her, Su Muqing's face instantly turned red. What confused her was this. Didn't student Chu already have a girlfriend? Then why was he still caring about her so much? Su Muqing could not help asking. By the way, student Chu, how did you know I was here? Chu Shin explained. When I came up here to get cleaning tools before, I noticed that you often stayed around this area. Hearing that Chu Shin had been observing her so carefully, Su Muqing's face turned even redder. But if he already has a girlfriend, is it really okay for him to do this? No. I have to keep some distance from student Chu. So, after overthinking the whole thing, Su Muqing immediately chose to move a little farther away from Chu Shin, though she still sincerely thanked him for bringing her lunch. But Chu Shin had not forgotten his system mission, so he directly moved over and sat close beside Su Muqing, asking why she was hiding so far away. Is the food not to your taste, or is your hand not convenient for eating? Do you need me to feed you? Chu Shin's idea was simple. If this let him hold Su Muqing's hand, he could take the chance to complete the mission. But how could Su Muqing know anything about a system mission? After hearing what sounded like an obvious confession line, her face became so red, it could not get any redder. Have I been caught secretly looking at him? Did student Chu mistakenly think I like him and awaken some player attribute trying to two-time? She could not understand why student Chu was suddenly being so nice to her today. This made Su Muqing think of the short drama plots she had seen before. Could student Chu Shen be the young master of some hidden powerful family? And that girl from this morning is a marriage candidate arranged by his family? Since student Chu doesn't want to accept the arranged marriage, does he want me to pretend to be his girlfriend and act as a shield to reject it? Something like, how dare you steal my man, or brother, didn't you say you only loved me, kind of plot. In other words, is student Chu trying to drag me into a love battlefield with that girl? So just like that, I've somehow become the female lead of a short drama. Seeing Su Muqing spacing out, Chu Shin felt like she was imagining something strange again. So he explained, don't overthink it. I just made some extra food this morning. Last time I figured you fainted because you had no money for lunch and got low blood sugar, so I prepared an extra portion for you. Su Muqing immediately felt incredibly embarrassed, so I had been overthinking it, after all. Still, student Chu's concern is real. Is he worried about me? But just as she thought that, she heard Chu Shin continue explaining in his heart. I simply don't want an unfair victory, although if Su Muqing collapses from illness, I'll be able to escape the title of Eternal's second place. But my heart and actions are utterly unclouded. They are all those of justice. A strong person should defeat their opponent fair and square. That's right. So things like trying to use telekinesis the day before the monthly exam to make student Su sick, or wishing on my birthday that student Su would become dumb, are things I, upright Chu, have absolutely never done. Of course, Chu Shin did not dare say the second half out loud, and only thought it silently. Unfortunately, Su Muqing heard every single word of those thoughts. The first half had almost made her think Chu Sun was kind of cool, but the second half completely destroyed that image. Still, what Su Muqing did not expect was this. Student Chu actually calls himself Upright Chu in his heart. For some reason, it's a little cute. Since Student Chu cares about me this much, then I had better stay healthy, live a long life, and work hard to maintain my #1 standard. After that, Su Muqing officially tasted the chicken drumstick Chu Shun had made. The moment she took a bite, she felt like her entire body was about to melt. How could it taste this good? On top of that, she had not eaten meat in a long time, so for a moment, Su Muqing no longer cared about looking ladylike and began eating in big mouthfuls. Even Chu Shun was startled by the scene. Is it really that dramatic? After Su Muqing had eaten her fill, Chu Shun finally brought up the tutoring matter. Look, this is the information on the student you'll be tutoring. As he spoke, he showed her his phone screen. When Su Muqing saw the long list of badminton championship titles under the specialty section, she exclaimed, "So she's a sports student. That's amazing." Then she noticed the name Chu Lan and asked Chu Shin, "Is she related to you?" Chu Shin explained, "That's right. She's my cousin, my second uncle's youngest daughter. She just started 9th grade this year." Su Muqing nodded in understanding. "I see. Her cultural subject score is 67. That doesn't seem that bad." Chu Shin was instantly speechless. "Look carefully. That's her total score, not one subject. The provincial entrance exam has a full score of 620. Su Muqing teased him. "Student Chu, is she really your sister?" The moment this came up, Chu Shin gritted his teeth. "Don't even mention it. Also, I need to correct you. She's my cousin." Seeing his reaction, Su Muqing felt too embarrassed to keep hitting him where it hurt. Speaking of which, I reviewed the middle school textbooks last night. I thought that would be enough for the trial lesson. but now it seems I may have to review the elementary school textbooks too. Chu Shun invited her. Then how about coming for the trial lesson tonight? Su Mu King naturally had no problem with that, and immediately agreed. When Su Mu Qing realized Chu Shen had brought her lunch only to talk about the tutoring job, she felt a strange little sense of disappointment. I had thought this lunch might have some special meaning. But when Chu Shun saw her expression, he thought Su Mu Qing had looked at the information, realized Chu Lan was too much of an idiot, and was about to refuse the job. That obviously did not fit his plan, so before Su Mu Qing had a chance to reject it, he prepared to slip away first. But, right then, Su Mu Qing suddenly covered Chu Shin's mouth with her hand. Chu Shin looked confused and asked quietly what she was trying to do. But Su Mu Qing signaled for him to stay quiet, then looked down the stairwell. Chu Shin followed her gaze and saw that their homeroom teacher, Wang Lihong, was on the phone. Chu Shin found this completely hard to understand. So what if Wang Lihong is here? What's the problem? Su Mu King helplessly explained. Don't you know Teacher Wang is a love brain? If she sees us alone in the stairwell, eating identical lunchboxes, who knows, she might think we're dating. Chu Shun thought about it. She has a point. Being misunderstood would indeed be troublesome. At that moment, Wang Lihong was about to discover them. Su Mu Qing quickly pulled Chu Shin into the empty classroom upstairs. She remembered that this room was usually used to store files and other materials, so people rarely came in. As long as they hid until Teacher Wang left, they would be fine. However, Wang Lihong's destination seemed to be this very archive room. Seeing that the door was closed, she said to the person on the phone in confusion, "Old gal, I'm at the archive classroom. Didn't you say the door wasn't closed? Why is it shut?" After the person on the other end replied that the door was not locked, Wang Lihong prepared to open it and go in. Behind the door, Su Mu Qing instantly panicked when she saw this. This is bad. Teacher Wang is actually coming in. If we get caught here, our parents will definitely be called. And if things get serious, we might even be punished. Then my scholarship will be gone. And Student Chu has helped me so much. What if I drag him down too? Seeing how nervous she was, Chu Shun knew there was no other choice, so he acted decisively. He pulled Su Mu Qing farther inside and whispered, "Come with me." Outside the door, after Wang Lihong hung up the phone, she immediately guessed why the door had suddenly been closed. Maybe a young couple was hiding in here for a secret meeting. No wonder she felt like the air on this floor smelled a little sweet. The moment she thought of that, Wang Lihong's face darkened. She pushed the door open at once and shouted, "Students inside, I already saw you." But the classroom was empty, with no one in sight. Still, Wang Lihong did not give up and continued searching deeper inside. As she walked, she tried to scare them out. "I already saw you. I'm counting to 3. Come out on your own. If I have to drag you out myself, the nature of this situation will be completely different." And right under the desk beside her, Chu Shen and Su Mu Qing were hiding tightly together, barely daring to breathe.